mindful that your comments are being recorded. And if there's anyone here present who would like to make public comments or virtually via our virtual platform, I believe we have an email address displayed where you could have submitted comments. Anything there yet?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. I'm going to guess no one here. Seeing no public comments on agenda items, I'll ask for a motion to close public comments.
Motion.
In a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's move on to presentations. Our first presentation, I'll turn it over to Dr. Ripley.
The board has a plaque here to give to Mr. Arnold, who later on this evening will have an agenda item to, he'll be leaving us. I just want to say that Mr. Arnold quickly earned the respect of the board and all who attended our board meetings with his incisive thoughts, his challenging questions, and his interest in the whole business of education and how it worked. And he has been invaluable to his community and has represented Wantage exceedingly well, and it's something about which I'm hopeful he's proud. We're proud to have had him here, and we wish him nothing but the best. Thank you.
And you learned all that at High Point.
Yeah, if I can just add a little, Mr. Arnold has been the vice president for, what, now? A year and a half of both of my terms as president, and has been invaluable to me, invaluable, I believe, to the community. You can't imagine the number of hours that some of us actually spend not in front of the public at a table, involved in committee meetings, involved in negotiation sessions, involved in discussions with other bodies about potential shared service agreements. And I just know that I've spent a lot of time with you, and I know that you have yourself given a lot to this community, and I hope that you do well in your relocation and your new job. We're sorry to see you go, but thank you for everything you've given to the High Point Board of Ed.
Spencer,
You don't have to speak.
how old are you, Spencer?
24.
As a blessing.
Let me tell you, at 24, I wouldn't have been sitting here. And he was here for almost 2 years, correct?
More than 2 years.
I
Almost
gotta,
3.
I gotta really commend you for that.
Thank you.
Because, like Mr. Ripley said, your insight and your questions and your input had been invaluable. So we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, later on, we'll add an agenda item to formally accept your resignation. But we'll move on to presentations. I believe under the HPEA, I don't see Mrs. Mancuso, but I believe we have Mrs. Patricia Pyatt.
Yes, that's correct.
And you're going to update us on the HPEA items.
Good evening,
Welcome.
everyone. Welcome. As noted, I'm Ms. Pyatt. I'm stepping in for Ms. Mancuso this evening. She's preparing to attend the NEA convention in Chicago, which begins this weekend on Sunday. On behalf of the HPEA, I would like to thank Mr. Arnold for his service to our school and community. Spencer, it was a pleasure to teach you, and the entire unit wishes you well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. The association would also like to congratulate all of our retirees for their many years of service to High Point. Their commitment to our youth is to be commended. In addition, the HPEA is thankful that the ceremonies and traditions leading up to graduation, as well as commencement itself, ran smoothly. It was good to see a sense of normalcy return, so graduates, their families, and their friends could celebrate our students' achievements. 2021-2022 was a difficult year for many of us. It was emotionally and physically draining. We look forward to an orderly start of the 22-23 school year. We trust that this summer will provide ample time to evaluate our academic and social culture of the school, and we hope that the changes necessary to ensure student success, both academic and social, will be implemented. We'd like to thank you for your work this year. I was served on a board for many years. Finance chair, I understand that 108-line budget, so thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I hope you and your families have a safe and happy 4th of July. Thank you.
Fill it out, articulate, and professional.
Our next
Yes.
presentation is Mr. John Talame, but I don't see you. Seamus, you're going to handle the principal's report and athletics report?
Yes, it's always hard to follow a language arts teacher. I'd like to take a moment to thank our performing arts staff and students. Music moves the soul and it makes special moments even more special. And the music on Monday night was just fabulous. And the setting and the tone and the atmosphere was just gorgeous. So hats off to them and to our students for bringing that really extra special energy. So yesterday our summer academy started. I'm very proud of this program, proud of our staff, proud of our students. Primarily this program is to support students who struggle during the school year and need to complete work or seek time or effort or projects and assessments in order to successfully complete the year. To get up when the bell rings at 6:30 and get on a bus and come to High Point in June and July is a testament to their resolve, and I think the teachers who lead them to that success. Our program is much smaller than last year, but I think it's worth noting that this year, which just concluded, we saw 65% fewer class failures than the year before. Now that is data which cannot be refuted as a testament to anything but the fact that even though it was an incredibly challenging year, in many ways hard to put words to how difficult it was, the adjustment, the ongoing struggles with the pandemic, we did begin to make measurable progress towards pulling out from the pandemic and having success. So our teachers and our students worked through the challenges that were really epidemic the previous year, and we saw much more student success. We're happy this program is up and running, and we're happy that some of these students were successful. Our agenda this evening has a couple of personnel items, which I think it will be obvious will have an impact on the schedule. And so Mrs. Courtney Delaney is hard at work, putting the finishing touches on our master schedule, and we're excited to have that in place very soon. Speaking of schedules, we are very excited that since block schedule came about, our science labs had been 82 minutes, but for a variety of reasons related to COVID, we reduced those science labs down to 57 minutes. Next year, we will see the return of 82-minute science labs. That hands-on, a science lab is a time where you try and solve a problem for which neither the students nor the teacher know what the outcome or the answer will be. And that takes time. And so our science teachers advocated passionately for a return to this, and we're quite pleased to be reinstating that for next year. It is impossible not to smile when you look at this slide. It is arguably the finest day at High Point. There is so much joy and happiness and love in the auditorium. I feel as if every year there's an extra 100 students to the point where it's standing room only. And to have 600-700 students in the seats cheering and applauding their schoolmates. They all took their phones out, had the lights out, and they were singing and participating. And I think they're incredibly proud of Mrs. Smith and Ms. Price and their program. And I think the event is a testament to the meaningful and powerful impact that that program has on the broader school community. So we're very proud of these students, of the courage that it takes to perform, and the phenomenal job that they did in this performance. Graduation was spectacular, and it wasn't just graduation, but as Ms. Hyatt referenced, there's a whole series of events leading up to it. So we had a senior breakfast, and there's not much that 12th graders like more than a tail ham, egg, and cheese sandwich. And we had a very generous benefactor in the community, a parent of a senior, who I think Dr. Ridley will mention later, who donated a food truck. And we just had a fantastic morning for the seniors. Our climate team and our student council put together a fun day. It's the end of the year. Let's go outside, enjoy our beautiful campus, have some ice cream, and just celebrate being together. So there's a lot of feel-good moments at the end of the year that it was very exciting to be part of. As we speak, Riley Hand is in Chicago. She's being supported there by her teacher, Mr. Brian Emma, and she's in the FBLA Nationals. And Brianna Dunn is just a phenomenal artist who made it to State Teen Arts in Trenton, and we're very proud of her talent and her accomplishments. And athletics, we're no slouch. We had an incredible spring, and those four in track and field in dual meets. So dual meets, one team against the other, your typical schedule. You run the 100, but you don't run the 4x100 relay. So it's simply an event they put into the end of the year. So Coach Contino took 4 of his best athletes who had never done the event, put them on the track, and they run a sectional. They won a sectional state title. So that was really pretty neat. Most of you have probably heard that of the 600 high schools in New Jersey, there's in track, they have the ability to have a tournament which narrows the field down to one group of elite champions. So whether you're private, public, large, small, north or south, if you do well enough, any high school athlete can make it all the way to the meet of champions. And we had 2 athletes make it. Just making the MLCs is a career achievement, but to medal, and Leia Rubo took home a 4th and a 5th, and she'll be jumping next year at Fordham, and Rachel Mason took home the 5th, and she'll be a UConn Husky in the fall. So we're really proud of these kids. And we not only do it well, but we do it right. So it's Coach Percy, Carter, Finnegan, Mina, Cosentino, Latrenta, Sunda, Smith, and Kapler. The students, of course, won that award, but I want to acknowledge the leadership within those athletic programs. So to have strong participation, and then to achieve excellence, and then to do it in a way in which other coaches choose you to be a representative of sportsmanship is something that I think is great. We're very proud of. And we had 40 athletes earn all the recognition. So really an incredible spring. A lot of students going on to participate in college, a lot of medals and accomplishments, and just a great athletic season. Also, I'd like to acknowledge our athletic director, Mr. Chris Dexter, who brought back what had been just suspended temporarily due to COVID, but the wonderful Hall of Fame banquet that Mr. Van Orden began a decade ago, and now under Mr. Dexter's leadership is back and going strong, and we're trying some new members. And it's a great night for our current athletes and our previous generation to be together in one room, and it really was a fantastic night for the school. So that is that. I know Mr. Cross is looking at me trying to figure out what's going on here. It was 2 presentations that were shorter than normal. You do it. Anyone have any questions? Great, thanks.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor. Before we move on from presentations, I did want to introduce someone that I see in the audience who I believe recently was appointed the liaison from Montague Board to the High Point Board, correct? Ms. Tasha George? You don't have to speak, but if you'd like.
I just wanted to introduce myself as the new Montague Board of Ed member, and they appointed me as the liaison. We've been doing some housekeeping. We still have a little bit more cleanup to do over there, but we look forward to working together and strengthening our relationship for the kids. So, thank you.
Mr. George, thank you for all the time that you have put in
Long time,
over the
not just
last
now. Yep.
12, 13 years
Yep.
to have the opportunity for you to stand before us and for me to sit here.
A little quieter than it used to be though.
It's,
No, I kind of like.
Pretty nice.
you've played a seminal role over that time, and it has not been easy. And you've endured that, and it's a testimony to you to have endured those struggles and to still be here to represent your community and our community corporately. And it is an honor to have you here, and it has been an emotional time, and I'm very proud that the two of us are here together. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, we look forward to open and frank communications between the two boards.
That would be nice.
So thanks for attending.
I have a question, and that's obviously with Montague, it's a new role, but the other sending districts, does anybody have a liaison? Have they ever done that?
They're all sitting here.
We're all here.
We don't have one. We don't have
Right,
a
I meant
slide, so-
them sending to us.
Because of the send-receive relationship with Montague, it's a unique situation, I
Right.
believe.
Okay,
So-
I was
We
just
don't have a
curious.
seat on the board, I
Right.
just asked Warren what it was.
Right.
Just see what we have.
Because when I was, at the other schools
Oh,
that I
really?
worked at, like regional schools, they still had.
Don't
I
get
was
me
just
wrong,
curious.
there's
Oh, from
nothing wrong with communications with the other, sending district boards too. And open invitation to any board members there that want to attend and communicate as well, right?
In a positive and productive way.
Thank you. That's all for presentations. We have no other business, so we're going to move right into action items. And we have a few people missing, so I may have to ask some people to handle curriculum instruction and technology. Any volunteers?
That's me, anyway.
Oh, yeah, okay. Ms. Smith.
So, we're just recognizing items A, 1, and 2, and 3, for just attendance rates and suspension report. Number A4, going to move all items together. So A4, accepting the HIP report as recommended. 5, approving the curricular field trips as attached. Number 6, approving professional development as attached. 7, recommending the assignment for Rebecca Sarno for the Summer Academy. That's number 7. Number 8, approving the summer workshop days as noted. And number 9, approving the joining of the consortium of Sussex County Schools to help us pursue funds through Title III. And number 10, approving the application and participation in the community-based instruction cohort through sponsored by the Boggs Center for Developmental Disabilities at Rutgers. So making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to mention that item number 10 was pursued by our supervisor of people personnel services, Ms. Delaney, who is a tremendous asset and is constantly looking for ways to provide for our students, and this is just another example.
Yeah, she is quite the find, and I'm very happy that we were able to secure her. Okay, roll call please.
Ms. Ireland,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Carrazza,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes. That's it in curriculum instruction and technology. Personnel. I'll handle personnel, I guess. I believe let's go through 1 through, actually, let me go 1 through 1 and 2 together, and I'll move 3 separately. Item 1 is a recommendation to approve a contract revision for Ms. Jamie Noah in the position of part-time administrative assistant to reflect $25 per hour for 2022-2023 2023 school year. Item 2 is a recommendation to approve Ms. Caroline Reese as a substitute teacher for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, effective June 2nd, 2022. Right? So I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on 1 or 2? Roll call, please.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. I will move item 3 is a recommendation by the superintendent that the Board of Education accepts the resignation of Ms. Lindsay LeDuc Young as assistant principal effective July 1st, 2022. I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
We just think the world of Miss LeDuc Young and know that she will be successful in any of her future endeavors. She did a fabulous job here. She is a committed and dedicated, very bright educator who has a future that she will be able to choose her direction. So it is a loss for us, but we're very happy that she's going on to a successful future and of her choice, becoming principal at Vernon High School. Congratulations.
Congratulations. No other comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. I will move next items 4 through, I guess we have 4 through 16, 14, 15, and 16 being, actually no, let's make that 4 through 14. Yes, 4 through 14, together with the exception of item 10, which we are striking from the agenda. Okay, so item 4 being a recommendation to approve Mr. Brian Emma for the position of 12-month assistant principal effective July 1st, 2022 for the 2023 school year at the annual salary of $103,000. Item 5 is a recommendation to approve Peter Egan as a student teacher through Tcnj to conduct clinical field experience beginning in September 2022. Item 6 is a recommendation to approve Samantha Gyree as a full-time paraprofessional aide effective September 1st, 2022 for the 2022-2023 school year. Item 7 is a recommendation to approve Robin Norman as a full-time paraprofessional aide for the same period. Item 8 is a recommendation to approve Ms. Rebecca Sarno for the position of 10-month assistant principal at the annual salary of $95,000 for the 2022-2023 school year. Item 9 is a recommendation to approve Marietta Monath as a 1-to-1 LPN aide for our out-of-district students ESY program at her approved hourly rate. As I mentioned, item 10 is struck. Item 11 is a recommendation to approve Ms. Leah Morocco for the position of administrative assistant for guidance on secretary salary guide. Step 5. Effective July 1st, 2022. Item 12 is a recommendation to approve Carl Contino as a student teacher through William Patterson University to complete his clinical field experience during the 2022-2023 school year. Item 13 is a recommendation to approve Rachel Damstra as 2022 summer custodial worker at the hourly rate of $13. And in the addendum, item 14 is a recommendation to approve Ms. Teresa Emma as teacher of business education at MA Step 11 on the teacher salary guide. So I make those motions 4 through 14 with the exception of 10. May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments, discussion on any of those items?
I would like to say congratulations to Mr. Emma and Ms. Sarno on their appointments and
Welcome.
wish them well.
Okay. I'll take a roll call on that, please.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes. Lost my place, so, I'm going to move item 15 separately. 15 is a recommendation that the Board of Education ratify a 3-year contract agreement between the High Point Regional High School Board of Education and the High Point Administrators Association for the period of July 1st, 2022, days, through June 30th, 2025. I will make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments or discussion on that? I was just going to comment that I'd like to thank the negotiations committee from the board that was instrumental in reaching that agreement, and also the Administrators Association themselves for a very fruitful discussion, and I'm glad to be voting on that now. Seeing no other discussion, roll call.
Mr. Carrasco,
Yes.
Ms. Ireland,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes. Great, so then that lets us move, item 16 is a recommendation to approve the administrator's salaries for the 2022-2023 school year, as was outlined in attachment B3. I'll make that motion. Have a second.
Second.
Any discussion on item 16? If not,
Ms. Ireland,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Carrasco,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
yes. I believe that concludes personnel items. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Spencer for extracurricular. Or Mr. Arnold, sorry.
Mr. Spencer.
I like it. Sounds good. Okay. So I'm gonna move items 1 through 5 together. Item 1 is recommended that the board approve the varsity cheerleading team to attend the Pine Forest Cheerleading Camp in Honesdale, Pennsylvania, August 15th through 18th, 2022. Cost will be paid through fundraising and through the student activity account with no cost to the board. Item 2, it is recommended that the board approve the wrestling team to attend the Knockout Christmas Classic in Kissimmee, Florida, December 21st and 22nd. The cost to the board is the tournament fee of $400. All other expenses will be covered by the High Point Wildcat Wrestling Club. Item 3, it is recommended that the board accepts the resignation of Paul Cardinal from the position of TSA advisor effective June 20th, 2022. Item 4, it is recommended that the board approve the baseball team to attend Florida Coast Spring Training Academy March 29th through April 2nd, 2023. The trip will be paid for by fundraising and parent contributions with no cost to the board. And item 5, it is recommended that the board accept the resignation of Jessica Imhoff as Pride Advisor effective immediately. Make a motion seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to recognize the fact that there are 3 extracurricular trips being planned that effectively have very little cost to the board. That these sports and their support programs are finding ways, fortunately, to provide some fun activities without having to burden the board. And that speaks a lot for the communities that surround those sports, and I hope they continue.
Anybody else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Carrasco,
Yes.
Ms. Ireland,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna move item 6. It is recommended by the superintendent that the Board of Education approves the following extracurricular appointments for the 2022-2023 school year as listed. Take a motion, seeking a second. Second. Any discussion?
I guess I've gone over this one a little bit in my mind, and there were a few things that I had questioned. I understand it's come out of the out of committee as a recommendation. In the end, I'm going to agree to support it. I believe we're in a situation where we don't have people knocking at the door all the time within our own ranks here to fill extracurricular positions. And we have to get creative in looking for those individuals elsewhere. And so with that, I intend to vote yes on this item. That's my comments.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Caraza,
Yes.
Ms. Ireland,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes. Thankfully, we have no policy items.
They're coming.
And I believe our negotiations item, we basically handled under personnel. No buildings and grounds items. I don't know, Mr. Klein, if you wanted to update.
Well, I wasn't at the committee meeting, but Mr. Ripley, water garden, is that starting?
Oh, it will be starting, it should be starting within the next week.
Okay.
And they will have a cadre of students who will participate and a teacher, and it should be done fairly quickly. And we believe that it will be an asset to the already bucolic surroundings of our buildings and grounds.
Is that something that's maintained by students?
Yes, it is. We spent quite a bit of time vetting this, just so that it didn't become another issue where, you know, we have this beautiful, well-intentioned, you know, this is at no cost to the district, the one issue you're referring to, but there are hidden costs sometimes in maintenance over time, and we have been assured through various recommendations from other districts that have had this group come in, that it has been maintained not only by students but by the group through Rutgers University. So it has been well received in every other district with whom they've done work, and we think it'll be a positive.
Is it also partnered with Walkill Refuge? Was there someone that was part of that? Nathaniel? Yes, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
Nathaniel's
It's
fine.
been-
We didn't
it's
discuss
been-
it this past
It's been a
time.
couple months.
No, I know that, you've been a little busy,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to make sure we talked about it.
Yes,
It's something
oh,
that's exciting.
for quite some time.
Right.
They wanted to do it earlier, and we just needed to make sure we vetted it so that it was fully something that we could support moving forward. We're excited about it.
All right, I'm looking forward.
Thank you.
And I think I spoke about this before, but they came to the school that I teach at, and I don't know if we talked about this, but they came and installed a rain garden with the help of some 5th and 6th grade students about 3 years ago, and it maintains itself in large part, like the way that it, by design, and it acts as a filter or a filtration naturally to protect the Paulinskill River watershed from runoff from our parking lot and our roof during big heavy rainstorms. So it's like, it's beautiful to behold, but it's also got a lot of environmentally friendly perks. And they came in and worked with, you know, just, they have grant from Rutgers, so it didn't cost our school district anything. Our science teacher helps out, and then kids K through 6 all end up having a chance to help out with it, but it really kind of beautifully does its own thing. It's not like it's not high maintenance. It's really, it's beautiful. It's been a really good improvement in our landscape. So I'm psyched that they're coming here. That's good.
That's all I have.
Okay. There was
One
none.
of the people on in that group, sorry, was a High Point graduate also, an environmental scientist, Eric Van Venskoen. So there you go, you got High Point grads.
Excellent. That was buildings and grounds. Moving on to finance, there are 22 items. I will move 1 through 21. 1 is recommendation to accept the report of the board secretary, business administrator for the month of May 2022. Item 2 is a recommendation to accept the report of the treasurer for the month of May 2022. Item 3 is a recommendation to approve the report transfers and minimum expense transfer report for the month of May 2022. Item 4 is a recommendation to approve for payment the attached schedule of audited bills dated June 28, 2022. Item 5 is a recommendation to accept the adult education agency account, athletic account, cafeteria account, principals, petty cash account, scholarship account, school store account, and student activities for the month of May 2022. Item 6 is a recommendation to approve this schedule of tax payments for the 2022-2023 school year. Item 7 is a recommendation to acknowledge our Save Club under the direction of Ms. Kristen Jacobine receiving the Alex Orange Award and gratefully accept $250 to be used for Save Club activities. Item 8 is a recommendation to approve the memorandum of agreement to form a consortium with the Bergen County Special Services School District as the lead agency for the ARP-Homeless 2 grant for the New Jersey Department of Education. Item 9 is a recommendation to approve the annual service contract with Waste Management Services for the water treatment plant for 2022-2023. Item 10 is a recommendation to approve an agreement between High Point Regional High School Board of Education and J&D Therapy LLC to provide occupational, physical, and/or speech therapy as needed for 2022-2023. Item 11 is a recommendation that the board approves the following vendors for professional services for 2022-2023, and that is as listed. Item 12 is a recommendation to approve an agreement between the Camden County Ed Services Commission and the High Point Regional High School Board of Ed to provide professional support, non-public, and transportation services as needed for 2022-2023. Item 13 is a recommendation to approve a resolution for School Alliance Fund Commissioner effective June 13th, 2022. I'm going to just read the final portion. That be it further resolved that the Educational Facilities Fund Commissioner is authorized to direct to execute such documents as are required by the fund's bylaws. Item 14 is a recommendation the board approves that and authorizes the execution of the following tuition contracts between High Point Regional as the sending district and the following districts and related information. They are as listed in that table. Item 15 is a recommendation to grant permission to the High Point Wrestling Camp to host the non-affiliated co-ed camp K through 2, which will run July 18, 19, 20, and 21. Item 6 is a recommendation that the board grant permission to the High Point Wrestling Camp to host the non-affiliated co-ed camp 3rd through 8th grade, which will run July 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 2022. Item 17 is a recommendation to approve the sale of the 2013 International School Bus with 122,000 miles through the Hunterdon County Ed Services Commission bid services for a price of $31,000. Item 18 is a recommendation the board approves the purchase of a 2023 International School Bus Model PB 105 with wheelchair access through the Ed Services Commission of New Jersey. Item 19 is a recommendation to approve the following lunch prices for the 2022-2023 school year, and they are as listed. Item 20 is a recommendation to approve the humanities inventory reduction as outlined on attachment G7. And item 21 is a recommendation that the board approve the STEM inventory reduction as outlined on attachment G8. And did I actually say only through 21? How about we'll throw 22 in there also? Is a recommendation to approve the list of surplus property to be sold through Gov Deals, and that is a full resolution that is as listed, and the items are detailed in the table at the bottom of that motion. So I move items 1 through 22 in finance. May I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments on any of those items?
Number 14, is that supposed to read Allegro School? I think it's just a typo. But
Yes,
I might be wrong.
It might be.
No, the school is Allegro, yes.
Oh, catch.
Thank you.
You're wrong.
Item number 18, the purchase of the school bus.
Yes.
That last line, the bus will be purchased out of Fund 50. Can you
Yes.
explain what that is?
Yes, Fund 50 is not in the general fund. What it is not all schools are able to have a Fund 50. It is a transportation fund that is monies that we receive for services rendered through our transportation office, where we provide transportation services to multiple districts around the county, and they provide us with a service fee, a 5% service fee throughout the year for the services that we provide through our transportation office. That goes into Fund 50. So it is not accessible through, it is not part of our budgeted money, it is not part of our tax levy, it is not part of the general fund. And so that is, and as I said, not all school districts can utilize a Fund 50, but because we have a transportation coordinator and a robust system where we essentially function to some degree as a hub for the county, we charge services similar to what other school districts that have similar resources do. And so that builds up over time.
Thanks.
Dr. Ripley, item 19, just how many years has it been since we have increased the cost of student lunches?
It's been quite a while. I know that that's not a specific number, quite a while. But it has been several years. And as a matter of fact, our lunches were exceedingly low relative to the area. And so we're increasing it a quarter, I believe.
25 cents per item. And yes, this, including the 25% increase, it's still slightly less than the average of Sparta, I believe, Learning, maybe Mount Olive, and I forget what surrounding high school, but it's still less than the average of surrounding high schools.
Historically, the board's position is not necessarily to make a profit on lunches, but we also can't operate at a loss. So the board has been very cognizant of our community's needs and the nature of the demographics, and so as to not overly increase the prices, we've maintained them at a lower rate.
Any other comments on finance items? Not, and roll call.
Mr. Carrazza.
Yes.
Ms. Ireland.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Klein.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes. May I turn it over to Mr. Carrazza for transportation?
I will move items 1 through 8 together. Item 1 is recommendation to approve and authorize a contract to the lowest quote for the remainder of the current school year as listed. Number 2 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the contract addendum for additional mileage for the extended school year program as listed. Number 3 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the lowest quote contract for the 22 extended school year as listed. Number 4 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the lowest quote contract for the 22 extended school year as listed. Number 5 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the lowest quote contract for the 22 extended school year as listed. Number 6 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the quoted contract for school-related activities for the 21-22 school year as listed. Number 7 is a recommendation, it's a recommendation to approve the fact that High Point successfully completed their second annual school bus evacuation drill on Monday, June 6th. And this completes our second bus evacuation requirement for the 21-22 school year. Dates are listed as to when those drills were conducted. And finally, number 8 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the transportation agreement for students to the extended school year program as listed. I'm making a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Ireland,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Karazan,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes. We have no legal action items, and I don't believe we've had any correspondence. So, next we have miscellaneous. Our first miscellaneous item, we'd like to offer a special thanks to Mr. Todd Deming and Kaylee Jewelers for paying for a food truck for our senior breakfast on June 16th. His generosity and partnership are very much appreciated and provided a great benefit to our senior class. I'll say, when I saw Mr. Campbell had pictures up here, but it also went out on our social media, and I thought, what a great idea for, a way of a parent giving back to the school. And as he had mentioned, and Mr. Campbell mentioned, is probably one of the best received items, right, to have a free breakfast. So thank you, Mr. Deming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We have a standing item on school board mandated training. I'm gonna hold off on putting you under other business. So then we have our second public comments section of the evening. So please, same rules apply. Please state your name and address. If there's anyone either present here that would like to make a public comment at the podium, or anyone virtually that has submitted comments via our virtual platform to the email address that is posted there. Anyone in person? Anything received online? Interesting. Hey, they had plenty of time to submit via the email address, so I'll entertain a motion to close the second public comment section of the evening.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Any non-committee board member reports or comments?
I actually just was thinking of something that didn't, wasn't there a board, an update on the board requirements to have a student representative? When does that start? Do we know?
If that has passed, I don't believe it goes into effect until 2023.
Okay, that's where, I thought it was a while.
I'll get an update.
We need to check with.
Yep, you're right. There was legislation that was passed, and I do not recall the implementation date. Thank you for bringing it up.
Good, you need someone young to keep you in line still.
I just thought, yeah.
I know that each month, I always tell Ms. Pyatt after the board meetings that one board member in particular makes a public plea to the food pantry. And we've spoken at our meeting here about how we've cleverly, Ms. Pyatt and Ms. Namara and others have cleverly found a way to get Amazon linked up. But Ms. Pyatt reached out to us for the Summer Academy to just let us know where the food was and to help ourselves in case any of the summer students could benefit from that. So the food pantry doesn't sleep, and because she's here tonight, I just wanted to thank her again for doing that. It's really a great part of our school community.
It is, actually, we asked that about that.
What was the impact of connecting Amazon to that?
Fantastic. I think one Saturday in April, Kate and I were talking, because she had outside donors. I said, could you contact them, please? I don't want to ask the staff again. We are really low. The shelves were empty. And Kate came back. She said, yes, I've contacted my friends, and I've set up an Amazon wish list for you if you want to see how it works. So we tried it out first with our own personal group of people. I have a lot of friends in Canada who actually donated to us. And that worked well. And then when we started letting it out to the staff, food came in, and near the end of the school year, the link went up on the school website, I believe you were telling me, because I was getting parents donating. And I don't like asking students and families, because I don't know what anybody's circumstances are. And at the end of the school year, when I was having kids come in just, do you have like the mac and cheese and the cups and a Gatorade and goldfish that I can bring home for lunch this afternoon when we're exams? I mean, my shelves were bare and a few fathers were donating and it filled the need. We had, when we left, I think 105 full grocery orders for families, like 8 to 12 bags we did during the course of the year. And then well over 100 students just stopping by. Some are student athletes who you would not know don't have money. Can I have a Gatorade for practice? Can I have a granola bar, something like that? So the community response has been excellent and our students really appreciate it. So.
And it's very easy to do.
It was Mrs. Smith who referenced having it on the webpage.
That's what Mr. Campbell told me.
Yeah, so, thank you.
Any other non-committee board member reports or comments? It's not on the agenda, but I'm going to insert an action item. I'd like to make a motion to formally accept the resignation of our Vice President, Mr. Arnold. I believe his resignation was going to be effective June 30th. So effectively, this would be his last public meeting.
What if we say no?
I can't go anywhere, I guess.
No, in truth, what the motion, in making the motion, what it does is allow us then to move forward with our steps to ensure that we have that seat filled sometime in the future. So I'd like to make that motion. May I have a second?
I know your love, Spencer.
Second. And we've already.
Who seconded?
Mr. Carrazza.
We've already given him his plaque and his comments, so we don't.
I'm good. Thank you, Doug.
But if there are any other comments, any questions? Okay. May I have a roll call to all in favor? Oh, we can do it all in favor? If we're all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Thank you again. Last section we have is other business, and it doesn't even look like we have anything there, so I'm not even going to review that one. I will actually entertain a motion to adjourn for the evening.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Adjourned.